Alright, welcome to week 2 of Drone Ground School. This week we are going to cover subpart B, AC, and instead of 107-1 that we covered last week, we're going to talk 107-2 this week. As you can see, we've got 22 different areas of knowledge we need to hop right in and get going on. So, first thing we're going to look at is registration requirements for the drones. When do you actually need to register the drone and when don't you? Well, basically, if you're flying the drone in the U.S., you must be issued a U.S. registration certificate if the drone weighs between 0.55 pounds and less than 55 pounds. Anything weighing less than 0.55, you do not have to register. Now, keep in mind, this is not talking about licensure as far as a commercial drone pilot license. And so even if I am flying the drone recreationally, just for fun, just out taking some photos of my farm, I still have to register it. The rationale the government gives us is if a crash occurs or it flies off or something, it allows them to track you down and, according to them, give your drone back. But according to many others, it's if they are in a position where they have to shoot your drone down, they know who to come after in those instances as well. So between 0.55 and less than 55, make a note, it's less than 55. If it weighs exactly 55, these rules do not apply. You're in another category. You have to go somewhere else other than Part 107. On the exam, if they ask you a question over this, they are likely going to try and trick you by saying 55 pounds and less, or something like that. So be sure you make a cognizant note of that. The FAA on the exams really loves to try and play these word games with us. So it has to be between 0.55 and less than 55 for a commercial or hobby. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. If it weighs that much, you got to register it. If it's 55 pounds or more, there is a special registration process that exists, but it is outside of the Part 107 rules we have, and basically involves you getting an F333 waiver, like was available prior to these regulations being in place. So basically, the FAA is saying your drone is bigger than what we consider to be safe with the rules we have here, and so you need to go through some special vetting and authorization before we'll let you use the drone. Keep in mind, this 55-pound weight is calculated including cargo at liftoff. Now, why is that key? Well, I could have a drone that runs on gasoline. Obviously, when it takes off, it's going to have a full tank. When it lands, it's going to have burned through a good portion of that fuel that was in the tank. And so just to be clear, the 55 pounds is when it's fully loaded at takeoff prior to using any of the fuel that may be in the tank. Now, with a electric battery, that's probably not as big an issue, but it was placed in there with the anticipation that we will be seeing drones with fuel, whether it's jet fuel or regular fuel, powered engines in the near future, because electrical engines, while they're great, they're wonderful, they have this limitation called it takes a big, heavy, bulky battery to allow them to run. Keep in mind as well, this registration certificate expires every 2 years. So every 2 years, we have to come back and log into the FAA website, and we have to renew the certificate. Currently, it costs $5. A lot of people are speculating on whether that cost will go up, or when it'll go up, or how much it'll go up. But every 2 years, just like with our car, we have to register it every year. We need to register it every 2 years with a drone. And again, as mentioned, it's completed through the FAA website, completely without any interaction with anybody on their side. And so it's a very quick and relatively painless process. Lastly, as we mentioned last week, foreign registered aircraft. So if you're from Canada and you register the drone in Canada, it is not eligible to be used in the United States unless there's some sort of reciprocity agreement saying that Canadians can fly in the U.S. and U.S. people can fly in Canada. Currently, the United States has no reciprocity agreements with any country in the world, and when these rules were released, the FAA stated that they had zero plans of entering into any kind of reciprocity agreement, but they put this component into the rule just in case, because you don't know with the new administration coming in or 10 years down the road what may happen. So they put it in there just in case reciprocity agreements were ever actually entered into. That's part 1, registration requirements. Part 2 is, what about safe operation? How do we know when the drone is safe? And what the regulations say is, no one can operate a civil drone unless it is in a safe condition to fly. Now, what does that mean? Well, the FAA really doesn't specify what safe operating condition means. They leave that up to the discretion of the drone pilot to say, is my drone safe to fly or not? All the FAA says is prior to each time you fly it, the remote pilot in command, you'll also see it referred to as PIC, P-I-C, that means pilot in command, or RPIC, remote pilot in command. Every time you fly that, you must check the drone to determine if it's safe to fly. Now, what does that mean? Well, again, they don't give us a lot of details. At the end of this course, we will talk a little bit about pre-flight checks, and the FAA does give us about 24 pointers on these are things you should look at, but they also say we don't guarantee this is all you should look at, or that all of these things will apply in your condition. These are just suggestions you might want to consider, and we'll look at those at the end of the semester, or at the end of this course. But what the rules basically say, you must check the drone to make sure it's safe to fly before you fly it. Notice the last point. It says document this. If it isn't written down, it didn't happen. So if I'm out flying the drone and it crashes, let's just say Rich messed up and it crashes into a house and it damages some siding, FAA calls me on the carpet for this and they say, did you check the drone to make sure that it was appropriate to fly prior to flying it? And I say, yeah, everything looked great, and where is it at? Show me it in writing. And I say, well, I really haven't. Sorry, if it's not written down, it didn't happen, and they'll ding me for not doing a pre-flight inspection, which, by the way, means they're probably going to fine me. They love to do that. So make sure you document it. Have some sort of a system, and if you take the next version of this course in the summer, we will actually talk about ways of doing this when we get into the drone operations and maintenance portion of the class offering. So make sure it's written down. Whatever you decide to do, write it down. Lastly, when it's talking about safe operation, you are not allowed to fly a drone that you know not to be in safe condition. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little bit of a cheapskate sometimes, and I'll get tires that start to go bald in my car, and I might look at them and go, I should probably change them, but I think I can make it to town and back one more time before the tires blow. You're not allowed to do that with a drone. Basically, the FAA says if something happens and it crashes and it was found that you were not doing preventative maintenance, you were not doing a quality pre-flight inspection, you're going to be considered guilty until you can prove yourself innocent that you actually did those things. So that's part 2. Part 3 is medical condition. Are you healthy to fly the drone? And again, the FAA really doesn't give us a lot of details here. They just say that you're not allowed to fly a drone or act as the remote pilot in command, a visual observer, or a direct participant in the operation if you know, or you should know, you have a physical or mental condition that would interfere with that safe operation. So really, they don't say what is considered safe or unsafe. Like, you go to get a physical for a commercial driver's license, and they take you and you do a DOT physical, and they say, we're looking at diabetes, we're looking at eyesight, we're looking at these different things. The FAA doesn't do that with a drone. They basically just say, you need to know, and if you are not able to do it, don't do it. Some examples they give are medications. Sometimes you're given if you have a cough that doesn't go away, they may give you a narcotic cough syrup to help you sleep at night, to really help you out. That narcotic will interfere with your ability to think and or alertness, and so if you're taking that, you need to wait 48 hours prior to flying just to make sure that it's not going to interfere with your ability to operate that machine safely.